Hi! Today we're gonna create a complex animation for the Saanta. In the previous video I've explained how does it work, so now let's just do it. My name's Pawel and I make games. Let's take another step forward in this project together. First we need to find Saanta. Then we just grab him and use as a child object of a fireplace. Let's give him a name, let's flip him, and let's move him a little bit closer to this fireplace. Of course, we can't forget about the bag for presents. Let's rename it and move it closer to the Saanta. We can cover up this plant because at this point of game we won't see this plant anyway. Now we need to go to animations folder and create there a new scriptable object animation data. First we will deal with Saanta appear and let's give him 25 frames of gap and 5 sprites. First one will be this little icon. The next one will be just Saanta standing here, and actually we need it for the next 3 frames. So let's reduce the number of frames to 2 and then back to 5, and boom, we have our frames cloned. And at this point we want to hide the player and pretend that she goes into the Saanta's bag. So we will start animating it, but of course this bag will start from element 0. Before the real animation starts, we need there some idle frames. It will be better if I just show you that. And now we need an animation data for Saanta's bag. Let's set frames of gap to the same value as Saanta's, and as it comes to sprites, for now let's use only 2 of them. First one will be empty and the second one will be number 60. And now we can increase this number to 5 to copy those frames. Or maybe let's use 10 sprites. Number 4 is our last idle sprite, and starting from that we need to use sprite number 61 every other frame. Now let's go to the Saanta. Let's give him sprite animator, let's use his sprite runner there, and let's put his Saanta appear as a base animation. Now let's go to the Saanta's bag and let's do the same. Sadly, it will be harder to trigger everything we need with a fireplace as a parent game object of this group. So we need to make Saanta a new parent of those game objects, and fireplace will be its child object. Now we need to make a little mess, so let's go with it slowly. First we need to move the Saanta outside of the fireplace and make Saanta's bag a child object of the Saanta. And we need to do the same with the fireplace. Now we need to move go to point and make it a child object of the Saanta, not the fireplace. Now let's copy the item data from the fireplace and remove it and paste it as new inside the Saanta. Now let's find fireplace UI image and let's use Saanta's item data here. Previously there was fireplace item data, and we need to rename it to Saanta UI image. Okay, the last thing is using Saanta appear as a success animation. And now let's hide the Saanta by removing his sprite from his sprite runner. Let's set Saanta's bag inactive. We don't need to touch anything here, but because we set it inactive, it would be good to set it active somewhere. Let's put it inside objects to set active. And we also need to remove Saanta UI image. It would be good to also remove the fire, because Saanta goes through the fireplace and we don't want him to be hurt. It's time for a little bit of coding. Let's begin with the game manager and its check special conditions function. If you've got -1, we want to calculate the delay, and it will be equal to the time we need to play all of the frames of our success animation. So let's go with the success animation.sprites in our item, multiply it by success animation.framesofgap, and also multiply it by animation data.target frame time. Oh, and because we only need to know how many frames we have, we need to add .length here. If you want to, you may break this line and use delay instead of 1 here. Now let's go to the change scene coroutine. Here we need to check if we end the game, and if yes, we need to remove the player. Oh, and there is a mistake, this should be number 2, not number 3. Anyway, we know what number is endgame number, and let's just check if our scene number is equal to this number. And if it's true, we need to grab our player. We did something like that here, so let's copy this line. And we need to get its game object and set it inactive, so we'll use false there. We only set it inactive instead of destroying the player, so the left side of this line won't cause any errors, but the right side will cause one because we don't have player start position for the last scene. But after we win the game, we won't need the player anymore, so we may just go down and use player start position 1 as the position for the end game, and it will work just fine. We don't need to care about it anymore because the player will be inactive. Okay, and the last thing for this episode. To trigger everything correctly, we need to create a new scriptable object animation data, and we may leave it as it is, just name it empty state or something like that. Go to the Saanta and use it as its base animation. And below that we have item data, where we need to change Saanta's item ID to trigger endgame. Alright, and that's it. In the next episode we will create the endgame screen. I hope your game dev is going fantastic and you have some fun. Have a good day and see you soon!